Victorian United Nations Day of Vesak is to be held on the 27th. To talk about that event, it's a great pleasure. I'd like to introduce Julian and Chris in our studios this morning. Good morning and welcome to our program.
Good morning, Derek.
Julian, first of all, will you be able to briefly tell us about this Victorian United Nations Day of Vesak?
Yes, be most pleased to. Vesak began, or the organisation of the United Nations Day of Vesak began back in 1998 through a conference in Sri Lanka, and a proposal was put which was carried to the United Nations in 1999, and the United Nations Day of Vesak was created to celebrate the Buddha's message to the world, the universal message of peace to the world, and all the good things that have come through the Buddhist practice and faith over the years. In 2008, we formed the Victorian United Nations Day of Vesak to celebrate here in Victoria that day. So we first got together at Springvale, many different temples. Of course, in Victoria we now have something like 110 to 115 Buddhist temples and communities.
Is that right? I didn't even know that.
Okay. Yeah, many, and it's growing every year, which is wonderful. And of course we have something like around about 20 different nationalities and groups that make up that. So many different languages and traditions in the community, in the Buddhist community of Victoria. So we created this event because within the Buddhist community, of course, Vesak is celebrated, all the temples, but we wanted to create an event that celebrates Buddhism in Victoria and to show the Victorian community our multicultural aspect and how we mix with all many different peoples. So that's how we started. So it began at Springvale Town Hall and it's grown since. The next year in 2009 we moved to Melbourne Town Hall and we've been going ever since. Now this year, of course, there are three parts to Vesak, our celebration, our United Nations Day of Vesak. It's a multicultural event, of course. It begins at St Peter's Church Hall, which is opposite St Pat's Cathedral in East Melbourne, and that's at 10 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday. So that's the Sangadana.
So how long does that go to?
Well, it begins at 10 and it's in the traditional way. We have what's called Pindabata, of course, which people know about that. But we have monks and nuns, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis from many traditions, from Sri Lankan, of course, but Cambodian, Thai, Vietnamese, Korean, Tibetan, many different monks and nuns come. And the communities, all the communities from those different groups come as well. So they offer Sangadana, which is a wonderful occasion. We also have interfaith representatives also. Then at the end of that, at around about 12:15, they all walk around to the Parliament Gardens Reserve. And that's where we form up getting ready for the Vesak procession and friendship walk. And it's probably around about 600, 700, 800 people, led by flags. We'll have the Victorian flag, the Australian flag, the Indigenous flag, also the United Nations flag, and then the Buddhist flag, and then floats with Buddhas, and then the venerable monks and nuns, and then all the temples with banners, so different colours. There's traditional Sri Lankan drummers, Korean drummers, Cambodian drummers. So there's lots of sound, children dressing up in traditional costume. It's really beautiful, very exciting. So that begins at 1 o'clock, and the procession very peacefully and quietly, but with drumming as well, of course, then moves along Spring Street, past the Parliament building. The police help to keep everything safe, which is great. And then we move down Collins Street, all the way down to Collins Street. So it's visually wonderful, and people have been seeing this procession now for 7 years as part of the celebrations. And then we arrive at the Town Hall at 1:30, and that's when the official commemoration begins in the Melbourne Town Hall. We're sponsored, of course, supported by the City of Melbourne and Victorian Multicultural Commission. And then the commemoration occurs in the Town Hall itself, and that's a wonderful occasion with chanting by each of the different traditions as well, and meditation, so you can come and sit with 1,000 people and all sit in meditation together as part of the program. That's very exciting.
Chris, what's your involvement in this organization?
Yes, Derek, actually my involvement as a secretary of this organization. Julian is our current president. So my main task is to coordinate all the nationalities who are involved in to get everything success on that day. It's a big back of the house program, which is we are successfully managing all those communities to come to this organization's event on that day, and as well as we had a very successful fundraising event on 22nd of this last month. So at Kumin Temple in Braybrook. So we had about 600 participants, and we raised a lot of money for this program. So those are my part of this organization's task actually.
And these proceeds, what happens to all these proceeds?
All these proceeds actually which we collect actually is funding for this program year by year. We are partly funded by Melbourne, City of Melbourne and the Victorian Multicultural Authority. So rest of the money we raise through these fundraising events. So that's a part of my task actually in this organization.
Okay. Brian, all these things you guys are doing, it's great. Now you told me last year you had about 800. But coming on our program, I will guarantee you will double the. And because there will be so many Sri Lankans Buddhists who will like to attend this event. If they want to attend this event, is there any information,
of course,
website or Facebook?
Website, absolutely.
Yes.
Our website is www.unvsacvictoria.org.au, so please go and visit there. Or of course Facebook, Victorian United Nations Day of VSAC. Just type that in and they'll find us there as well. And please click like. And and if you'd like to come and help, or if there's volunteers, we all need volunteers of course to help us, so people can register. There's a phone number and contact details there as well. And there's lots of photographs from past years, so you can get an idea of the colour and the people and the fun that people really have. It's a wonderful event.
Thank you, Julian, and thank you, Chris. Thanks for sharing this event with our viewers. I'm sure it's going to be very successful. So keep that date free. That's on the 27th of May at the Melbourne Town Hall, and looking forward to seeing you there.